Namaste friends. As on the base of sketch concept which we learned from the previous video, today in this session I will draw this sketch. Also along with this I will share a few things which will help you to deal with complex sketches. So let's start. Very first I will set working directory. Now let's open sketch window. As a designer, we get paid for making idiot-proof design. So when we work on any project, we must be able to think and visualize on while working designing. So it is always recommended to build skills of it. And you know what? Sketch module will help you in that to build your skills. Whenever you see any sketch which we have to make in a 3D software, then at very first you should observe it and try to visualize that how this sketch will look in a 3D. And try to relate the same sketch with the real-time parts. Like this is the sketch which we will make in a today's session. So by looking at this, if I try to visualize it in a 3D, then it seems like this is a plate having a slots in it. And these slots may be used for some adjustment purpose. Now we will focus on sketch entities. Like this sketch is built with a combination of circle, line, oval and slot. Now after that I will look for the dimension of each entity. Like here is the diameter of this circle is 25. The radius of this arc is, or we can say a diameter is 120. Then radius of this arc is 20, which is placed at 2 locations. Then this slot has a center distance of 50 mm and radius is of 7.5. Vertical dimension is 20. Then the center of this circle is at 50 mm from this base. Now if we look for the total height and width of this sketch, here you can see 120 is the total width and total height is 100 plus, as it is a diameter, so we will divide it by 2. So 100 plus 60 is equal to 160. So total height is 160 and total width is 120. Now after I see entities and dimensions, now I will look for the constraints need to make this sketch fully defined or fully constrained. Like we can say this line is horizontal line, this line is vertical line, then this slot oriented horizontally, then the center of this arc is coincided on this vertical line. Also this arc and line having tangency and coincident relation. As we have saw total number of entities, then dimension, then we have saw the constraints. Now along with this I will need to check whether it is a closed sketch or open sketch. As in this sketch there is no any intersection between entity, so this is a closed sketch. Now till now we have discussed on this sketch. Now it's time to build a sketching process for this sketch. Like in this sketch, all dimensions are defined from this horizontal line. So in our sketch, I will draw this horizontal line on this reference line. Then I will make these 2 vertical lines. Then after that, I will define the radius at these corners. And then I will define the equal constraint with the radius of 20. Then after that, I will draw this half circle where the center of this half circle will be coincided on this vertical line. After that, I will prefer to use palette option to draw this slot and this curve. So once you make your roadmap for making this sketch, then you can start with software. So let's start. Now here for this arc I will use 3-point arc. I will select first point, then I will define second point, then after that I will define radius. So while moving this arc, here you will notice that the center of this arc is coinciding with this circle. You can notice here like this, or also you can say like here you can see at the bottom, at this location you can see the center is coinciding here. Also here, this horizontal constraint at the center of this half circle. So here some unwanted constraints are getting applied. So this becomes a major issue when you work on complex model. So while sketching you need to take care of which constraints necessary for making any sketch. Now here I want to avoid some these unwanted constraints like this tangent or this coincident, this tangent, or let's say if you notice here at bottom this horizontal lines means horizontal constraints are getting applied. So here I don't want these unwanted constraints from getting applied on this entity. Then for that you always prefer to use this method, which is press shift button from the keyboard. Now after pressing control button, here you will see that no any constraints are getting applied in this sketch. This point must be remembered while we work on any design, because if unwanted constraint gets applied, then you will get confused with your drawn sketch. Now here I will define radius as, first I will convert it to the diameter, then I will define 120 diameter. Here very first I will define tangency between this arc and this line. Here are some over-defined dimensions. So here I will delete this 120. Now here I will define the center distance, which is 100. Yes. Now here I will use palette option for this slot. Scale B1. I will drag it here at center. Click on OK. These dimensions are still highlighted, so here I will click on repaint. 50 is the center distance, so I will define it. And radius is 7.5. Center height is 20. Now like this slot, I will define this arc also by using palette option. I will coincide this center on this center. Now here angle is not defined, so what I will do, I will assume the angle. Let's say $120 or 150. Okay. 120 is perfect. If there is some missing dimension in the sketch, then it is recommended to assume it. Now here I want to check whether this sketch is fully constrained or not. That can be identified by two ways. First, there should not be any sky color dimension visible in your sketch. As here you can see, there is no sky color dimension. And second, you can drag any corner point of this sketch to check whether this sketch has any free movement or not. Now at last, the important point to note. After you finish your sketch, do ensure that your sketch highlighted with orange color, because this indicates that your sketch is closed sketch. Now if you notice here you will see that this arc slot, this circle and this straight slot are highlighted in orange color. But practically speaking, this is the outer shape of this plate. So this should be filled with orange color. So this means we have some issue with this sketch. As here we can see, there is no any intersection between lines. So we can't say that there is an intersection of any entity or not forming any loop. But we also know that there is a second case where we have the overlapping geometries. So here might be a case where some of the entities have overlapped on each other. So we need to check it. So what we will do, we will select each line, then we will delete it. Here you will notice there is no overlapping line. Then we will delete this arc. Again, there is no any overlapping geometry. Instead of that, here what I will prefer, I will select on this arrow, then I will click on this chain. So after you select this chain option, click on any entity of this sketch. Let's say I will select here. So here we can see that after selecting a single entity, a complete loop of this sketch has been selected, which has been highlighted in a green color. Now after selecting this complete loop, I will delete it. So after deleting the whole loop, we can see that here is one arc. Means we can say that this arc was overlapping geometry. So for time being, I will press Ctrl Z. Now here we know that this arc is overlapping at this location. So what I will do, I will select it and right click and delete it. So after deleting this arc, whole sketch has been highlighted with orange color. So actually here was the overlapping geometry, and to identify this we used this chain option, which helped us to select a complete chain of the sketch. So with this we come to an end of this session. So based on the content of this video, you have to practice the assigned tutorials. Till then, bye bye.